for the best unobstructed view of the dome and the large mural. Lastly, we'll go down to the governor's reception area, the Hall of Governors, and the old Supreme Court. This is at Springfield. He was born in Ohio, but had a home that he loved in Toledo, Illinois. And there are 3 paintings that are representative of commerce, agriculture, and industry. These were painted on canvas and applied to the wall, unlike the mural I'm going to show you next, which was painted directly into the wall.
Oh, there's Abe.
There he is.
The statues on this floor are all life-size. We start with Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president. Honest Abe, the rail splitter, stands 6'4". U.S. Senator Stephen Douglas, the little giant, 5'4". Delbert Roberts, our first African-American state senator in 1924. Richard Barr, a state senator for 48 years. Richard J. Daley, mayor of Chicago.
We have all the governors all the way until we get over to our last governor, Bruce Rauner. Our 43rd governor, J.B. Pritzker, will have his portrait hung when he is no longer in office. He will also have the opportunity to pick the artist and the background of the picture. Now we'll walk down to the Supreme Court. They can hopefully pass smoothly. In the center of the ceiling, you'll notice the portrait of the Goddess of Justice. She is trampling on gold coins to represent that true justice cannot be bought. And then I would like you guys to notice in the walls, you'll see the word justice printed. And that questions right now. Thank you for coming out.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, it's video also? Is this video? Yeah, it's video also.
Story cottage style, has an attic but not a real second floor, which was fine when they were just starting out, right? But then they would go on to have 3 more boys. You have 4 boys, you need a little more space. Abraham, of course, has a little bit more money later on. He's a very successful lawyer. And so they paid to renovate the space. They added an entire second story, and then they spruce up a lot of the rooms as well. And that come right into the left here.
Okay.
Just make sure you don't walk into that dining room. Stay in the parlor for me.
Okay.
Yeah, the air conditioning is not authentic, but I insisted upon it.
Yeah.
Should be plenty of room in there, guys. Don't hesitate to go in there.
Oh.
Come from all over. You deserve a nice full view of space. It goes all the way down here. So here we are in the parlor room. This would be the fancy entertainment space for the Lincolns, right? They're having a nice cocktail party, having some friends over, they want to entertain. This would be what, back then they didn't vote for it. It was more of a bigwigs kind of get in a room and figure out who they want. They decided Lincoln would be the best man for the job because he was very popular, and they came down here to let him know. When they did that, though, we had kind of an interesting response. He basically said, "Let me think about it," which is kind of weird, right? He's angling for the presidency, he's very prestigious, but I think it illustrates what he was thinking about, right? Think about if you had offered a job halfway across the country, even if it's prestigious, right? The presidency, you got to live in D.C.
Like, Lincoln was in this room.
Yeah, like lived here.
Well, yeah, it's kind of.
We'll come all the way through here.
Oh, there's more pictures.
This looks like fancy because it's multicolored.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a lot, but back then that would have been expensive.
Yeah, back then it's kind of interesting to think about. The carpets and the wallpaper, right? Nowadays you see wallpaper, first instinct is to tear it out. Same thing with carpet, but we want hardwood, nice plain colored stuff. Back then, this was considered fancy, right?
Yeah.
It was like, how do you show your status? I can afford this wallpaper. It's got the fancy patterns on it, carpet. And to have hardwood visible would be considered like, oh, it's like, I don't want anyone to see that. Like, I don't want anyone to see the floors, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting how that style evolves over time. This is the living or sitting room that we're in now. Looks like you can actually see it, right? Not necessarily as good as we would have it today, but for 1860, it's some pretty cutting edge tech. They would have paid about $1,000 in today's money for that piece of equipment. So imagine like a super nice TV.
Oh, another stove here.
So here we are in the main bedroom suite. This would technically be Abraham's room that we're standing in. Behind me would technically be Mary's room. People always hear that and get a little nervous. They're like, are they fighting on the rock? What's going on? Nothing like that. It was just a status symbol of the time. As we walk through, I always like to point out her shoes there on the left side of the bed.
Oh my goodness.
She wore a size 4.
Oh, jeez.
She was only 5'2". Abraham, of course, 6'4". So they were quite the contrast visually, as well as, of course, in their upbringing and their way of living. I also like to point out that dress there on the thing, it's not actually Mary's, but it's like one she would have worn. I always tell people not to touch anything in here. Those are mostly for moral and ethical reasons, right? I tell people not to touch that dress for survival reasons. It's dyed with a mixture of copper and arsenic
Oh, yeah.
to help the dye stay green longer. And I gotta say, it did work. It does look very good for 180. Probably wouldn't have chosen arsenic to make that happen.
I don't think you want to wear people that had arsenic poisoning from their clothes.
Oh yeah. It's very similar to mercury. Mercury is very well known, right? Put it in thermometers. They even had it in their hats for a while. People just didn't realize the negative effects, and they were just like, oh, mercury. They kind of view this job as almost an apprenticeship or an internship. You make a little bit of money doing the housework. You get offered room and board here. But then after 6 to 12 months, you get the job experience, right? You try to find a more permanent, well-paying job, or a husband, of course. It was 1860 after all. Also, reportedly, the Lincolns didn't pay that well compared to other people for their housework. So I hate to color your reputation of our 16th president, but maybe didn't pay his domestic house workers as much as he should have. Come on, Abe.
Yeah, seriously.
Any other questions or thoughts up here? Okay, let's move down to the kitchen now. That'll be our last stop on the tour. Off, right?
For sure.
The lights as well. I don't want to be in here in candlelight.
Yeah.
It's not my vibe.
But it's very discreet. I like where you put them. I mean, I like where they put them.
Yeah, no, they do a great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
It-
I like when people say you too, like I was the one who.
Yeah. I thought when I said it, I'm like, you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're
Very handy.
You're welcome.
So in here is the kitchen. Last stop on the tour. First thing you guys probably noticed is that big black cast iron stove in the middle. Authentic, same one the Lincolns used back in the day. Mary would have done basically all the cooking in the house. She adored this stove because for years before this, she would have to cook over a fireplace or a campfire for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for herself, her husband, and 4 boys. I do not envy that at all, right? They wouldn't eat a lot of the same food we eat today. See the pancakes, bacon, biscuits, right? All on the menu. Fish, bread, some greens if they could get their hands on them, right? Big sweet tooth. He liked to collect cats, right? He was a human being, just like we were, and he still left an indelible mark on history. So I like to think that if he could do it, a regular guy like Lincoln, then the rest of us can, and we do leave our own mark on history every single day. That's all I got for you guys.
Okay.
Sounds like I finished just in time. Our horseshoe discussion might have pushed me on the limit.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's
A
okay.
little bit.
Any questions or thoughts in here before we head out?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Smaller circle so they didn't fall in. So cool.
Of course, I set the alarm off. I didn't think reaching my hand in would set the alarm off, but it's good. It's sensitive, and it keeps people from messing with stuff.
Yeah. Usually most fans are fairly older.
Well, it looks like they couldn't access this little top porch thing.
It's just fancy. It's hard to believe you went to become a lawyer when you think about it. He's playing around education. He was just a very smart man.
Yeah.